All right, well, welcome back. Just as a recap, these are 6 sessions in which we present 5 tools. And in those 6 sessions, covering 5 tools, there is only one culture shift. That culture shift is a Pathways from Day One culture. When I first joined Toastmasters, maybe 30 years ago in Chicago, I went in, it was in the church basement and went in and, everybody's friendly. I did a table topic and just got started with that and joined. And then all of a sudden they hand me these booklets and everybody in there is working with booklets and I see them doing projects. And I was a Toastmaster. Hi, Rosemary. I saw I was a Postmaster. So I said, okay, well, I'll do projects. And so I went in the book and I'm doing projects and just working on it. That was a part of the culture, was those little books. Those were the projects. And I was able to understand it because I could see the books and it was very obvious. And everybody around me was doing projects from the books. And so I just naturally knew what to do because it's part of the culture. It's a little different with Pathways today because it's very hidden. And if it's not brought out from the depths of the internet by people talking about it, it can go unnoticed. And if it's unnoticed, nobody really understands the great value of the Toastmasters program for personal growth. And that's one of the reasons why we have the distinguished program. It's to help to make that, it gamifies it in a sense. It gamifies getting members in, it gamifies getting people into pathways. And the reason is not to check off items on the distinguished club sheet there, the little scorecard, but rather what it's to do, it's to get the effects of doing those things, of bringing new members in, of getting members engaged with pathways. It's a growing club, growing personally so that each individual member gets to enjoy their own personal growth goals within the club. And so what we're doing here is we're shifting that culture to one where it's just normal for pathways to happen. Pathways from day one. They don't have to be signed up for pathways from day one, although I don't know why they wouldn't because it's just presented to them right when they sign up. But I suspect that it's kind of overwhelming to make that choice. And so they put it off for later, which I understand that. But then they forget about it and they might hear about it once in a while in some clubs. Now, some clubs talk about pathways all the time, and that's great. So this is really for clubs that are trying to connect members into pathways, and then possibly it can become a way to connect members into Toastmasters, because if members are connected into pathways, they're probably growing more and they're working on projects. There's probably a bit more excitement because they're actually working towards goals and they're seeing themselves achieving goals. And so there's a certain excitement and enthusiasm there. And when visitors come in, they see that enthusiasm and they can tie into that. So this will probably be a driver of new members as well, although perhaps indirectly. But last week we launched the Start Here button. It's just a very simple button. It links to tmstarthere.com, toastmasterstarthere.com, tmstarthere.com. And it's just a simple red button. And new Toastmasters, what we do at Ozark Orders is I write it on a marker board up above the speaker, the lectern, and so it's above the speaker the entire time. And when new people come in, we always point and say, "Go over here, start over here." And it's just a simple, it's almost like a text or maybe an email. You go there, and there's nowhere to go on the site except forward, step by step. It introduces what the icebreaker is, and then the next page is, well, why it's important, and the next page is, well, here's how you do it, and then the last page is, well, here's how you schedule it, and that's it, just the icebreaker, and it avoids completely the overwhelm of 6 pathways and all the different things and which one should I choose. Any pathway they choose is going to have an icebreaker in it. So if we get them right into the icebreaker and get them in that easily, we've already got them started on the pathway. And we a couple times mentioned, go over to the pathways website, fill in the information. It's just very simple. And then there, if they haven't joined, then the question, well, how do I get on that? And then we can answer, well, here's how you get on it. Instead of trying to explain all of pathways to everybody who comes in and getting everybody overwhelmed, we just move them right into their first speech. Just very simple. This week, we're going to replace overwhelm with early confidence. And it's a checklist, and that sounds very boring, and a lot of times they are very boring. But this one's not. This one has a point, and it will help you move a new member very quickly into an icebreaker, which by default is moving them into a pathway without overwhelming them with pathways. But they're as they get the confidence of starting their first project, they are able to hear about pathways, and then they start to. Did I turn on the recorder? Yeah. Okay. They begin to get into the pathways culture. Just naturally and automatically without the overwhelm, and they're building confidence as they go. Hello, Don. For a Toastmaster, the first few weeks can be confusing. Legitimate questions. Well, what should I do first? Or am I doing this right? And it doesn't really matter what reason they've joined Toastmasters for. These are going to be their questions. And they're looking around at the culture of the group. What is the group doing? How do I fit in here? And even if they're a contrarian and they're not going to do anything like anybody else does, they're still looking at what the group culture is, so they can be contrary to it. So no matter what, they're going to be looking at what everybody does and deciding whether they want to do that too or not. And without clarity, if this is going this time and then some other things are going on the next week, and there's really no clear structure, or for maybe a meeting without clear structure, although a lot of Toastmasters are really good with that, or perhaps it's not clear what people are really doing. People are getting up and giving speeches, yes, but you know what? These folks have been doing it for a long time. They're really good. I'm not that good, so I'll just sit here and watch. And then what happens is there's no clarity there of what they should be doing and what they should be doing next. And then energy fades. So what happens is great potential gets lost too soon. This checklist, the Quick Start checklist, it gets its idea from those old, if anybody's ever bought an electronic device, way back when computers, when they were first coming out, you buy a computer. I think they still do it today, but it's a little bit more plug and play. But, we used to get even TVs. You get a guide that was the manual, and you could see the manual. You could go through it, but it was like, oh my gosh, look at this. There's like endless stuff. Where do I start? But then, thankfully, they always put in a one page or a folded over one page, here's how you get started. And it's just like, okay, do this, and this, and maybe it's 7, maybe 8 steps. And it's like, okay, now I can finally get it going. And then I can start learning all the things it can do as I'm going. So the Quick Start checklist is a way where it doesn't show everything a Toastmaster can do or will do. That's what the Toastmasters website is for. But that's kind of what makes it a little bit overwhelming for people in the beginning until they start figuring out what they're looking for and where they want to go. And this checklist will help them to begin to narrow that down to just what they need to look at right now. It's a simple one-page roadmap to get connected quickly into the rhythm of a club that has a pathways from day one culture. And it helps new members tie into club routines. And it also helps them to schedule their icebreaker. And it helps them to connect with support. And by doing that, it replaces stress with structure. The checklist doesn't give a lot of information. It just says key things to do. And it's very adaptable to any club because it can adapt to what your club does with those things. And a couple of things I had to put extra, like when I mentioned in there to a volunteer for a small role, like for example, the timer or AHA counter. Well, some clubs don't have AHA counters. So what happens if you don't want to edit the checklist yourself, if you just want to print it out and use it, it's not branded at all. If somebody comes up and says, well, what's this AHA counter? You say, oh, well, we're not doing that right now. And so no big deal. So this is very simple. If you want to just print it the way it is, you can start using it instantly. And the beauty is anybody can do that. Anybody in the club can be the checklist ambassador. And that can be the person, or it could be a couple, who have the responsibility of making sure that checklist is handed out. It doesn't have to be the VPE. Now, the VPE can mentor the ambassador and help make the ambassador grow in their own mentorship of helping new people come in getting the checklist, and it's more than just handing them the piece of paper. That's where it starts, and it's a physical piece of paper, so they're getting in their hands. Don't be surprised if at the end of the meeting you find it on the floor, or it's in the garbage can, or it's left on the table. No problem. They're in a new environment. They don't know what they need to be looking at or not. This is part of the checklist. So the next week you could say, "Hey, how's it going?" You could show them a new checklist and say, "Hey, how's it going? Can I help you with any of these?" Or the ambassador can just run through the checklist with them, the main points. There are 6 main points, and it allows for an excuse to contact the person, personal contact, and it gives some structured conversation that will be valuable to the new member, and it's also valuable to the Toastmaster helping to share that because it helps them to begin to mentor in a very soft, non-official way or unofficial way, possibly. But it replaces stress on the new Toastmaster because it gives them a clear step-by-step, and it reduces stress on the person sharing because they just have this checklist. And once again, I'm going to share the checklist with you as a docx. If you want to, put it into Word and brand it, change it however you want, that's perfectly fine. It should express your club because this is your club. And it's not meant to tell your club how to do it. It's just giving a framework that you can start using it as it is and see how it works and adjust it, or adjust it right off the bat, whatever you feel would be beneficial to you. So what's on the checklist? Well, there's a gentle guidance to log. Well, let me run through the checklist first, and then I'll do that as a recap. I think that will be more valuable for you. So this is the whole checklist right here. It's just one page, and it says right off the bat, this isn't everything you'll ever do in Toastmasters. It's just the first few meaningful steps to get started working on your personal and professional growth goals. Take them at your pace, and we'll be right there to support you. So right off the bat, it's very supportive and it's very open. We're not telling you what to do. We're being helpful here, and this is going to be helpful to you. Pick up and use it the way you want to. And these are the six things. Get access to your Pathways account. Right off the bat, Pathways, what's that? Well, ask your VP of Education or any experienced member if you need help. We're here to walk you through it. Very supportive. So if they need it, they'll ask. If they don't, they'll just say, okay. So they log in at toastmasters.org and then click on your path and select your first pathway if they haven't done so already, which they probably did, but maybe they didn't. But if they did, they can just click that right off away. And then it goes to schedule your icebreaker. And it tells them who to talk to. And if your club doesn't schedule icebreakers, I would still, or schedule meetings in advance, I would still encourage you to allow new members to schedule their icebreaker so that the new member can get it on their calendar and they can begin to work towards that goal, that project. And I would call it a project. I wouldn't call it a speech. Yes, it's a speech, and they're going to know it's a speech. We're not trying to fake anybody out. But the word project isn't going to be so emotionally charged as the word speech. And when they hear, okay, I have to schedule my first speech already. No, schedule your icebreaker project. Oh, I'm going to schedule a project. Okay, and it's just a little talk. It's not a big deal, and we should not fake people out by pretending it's a big deal. You see, if we make it like it's a bad, terrible thing, it's not a bad, terrible thing. We're faking people out. We should present it for what it is. It's a very simple chance for you to introduce yourself to the club and let us get to know you. And you can really talk about whatever you want in the icebreaker. Every pathway has an icebreaker, so you're going to give many of them. And so you're not going to talk about the same thing every time. So whatever you start with is going to be fine. And if you send them over to that, see here it goes, so that it tells them right what to do after they schedule it. Review the icebreaker lesson at tmstarthere.com for guidance and prompts to prepare. So you can, if they say, well, the icebreaker, what's that? I say, oh, here, go to tmstarthere.com. You can even take out your phone and here it is. And it's just just follow right down. And when you get to the end of the page, click that link and it'll go right to the next page. Just follow it through. It'll take somebody about 5 minutes to go through all those pages, 10 minutes just to read it. And then it's very simple to work through. And then the next item on the list is to help them start attending their next 2 to 3 meetings with purpose. So we suggested, well, observe the meeting roles, see what's going on, and then say yes to a small role like the timer or the out counter. and then jump into table topics. So we're going to encourage them to start doing table topics right off the bat, which you're probably doing already. And this will just put it into a framework. And then we remind them to work on your icebreaker project between meetings and ask for help if you need it. And then we want them to connect with people in the club. So one of the things in the checklist is connect with someone who can help you settle in. So reach out to an experienced member. So most likely the people in your club will already be greeting people and getting to know them a little bit, which is great. But this gives them a piece of paper they can hold in their hand, and they can go up to the person and not even make eye contact and say, hey, you know what, I'm supposed to meet somebody and introduce myself, so I'm introducing myself. And that kind of breaks the ice for that. So they have a purpose. Their purpose is connect with somebody. And it's just a checklist, but at least they're connected with somebody. They don't feel like they've come in, they've sat, and then people were nice and said hi, but then they left. So it's kind of designed to tie them in a very non-threatening way, because it's a part of getting into the groove or the rhythm of the club. And then we want them to complete their icebreaker. And I didn't mention, but we suggested here on this list to schedule to 3 to 5 weeks out is best. So when they first start, if they can do it within their first 30 days of becoming a Toastmaster, they're rolling. They're rolling. And once again, this is a project, and it is not a big deal. It's a very small thing. And, some people will love this and they're going to be right on it. Other people will be very terrified of it. But this is how we help them as Toastmasters. But if they're terrified of it and they're never told to that, hey, come on, why don't you schedule it, they'll keep procrastinating. But if somebody's there encouraging them to go ahead and schedule it, they're going to be able to confront their fear much faster. Maybe they won't schedule for the first 30 days. No big deal. Maybe they won't schedule for the first 90 days. That's no big deal, but at least somebody's asking. At least somebody's helping them to confront their own fears. Because we know it's not a big deal, but to them it is a big deal because they feel that way. And a part of what we can do for them is to help to mentor and coach them into doing it. But if we never ask them to do it, or we wait for 6 months to ask them, we're probably have already lost them. But if we help them, even if they say, no, I can never do that, say, okay, just no problem. Just hang around and watch. And then, next month, ask again. Say, hey, how you feeling now? Now you know everybody. How about doing it? And they know somebody cares to ask. So it's a coaching tool where you don't even have to know how to coach. You just have to be friendly with it and help people through it. And that's why a checklist ambassador would be perfect as kind of an unofficial leadership role, or could be an official leader who does it. And preferably that person will then help other people in the club to use it as well, so that everybody in the club is supporting new members in this checklist. Why this checklist? For no other reason than it gets people connected with people in the club and it gets them to the icebreaker. That's all. It's just one way of doing it. And there's nothing special about the checklist, but it is a way of doing it. And then get celebrated, mark your project completing your pathway, which you should be finding easily in Basecamp now. So now we throw in a new word, Basecamp, but they're already rolling. They've now figured out how to get into pathways, and they've now figured out how to go through the project and work through each of the little sections of the project for the icebreaker. And now we're just starting to get them into the website. I'm going to assume that everybody here has been on Facebook if you're not currently on Facebook. And Facebook is a terribly hard site to use. But what do? We when we first start, we just jump in and we start clicking buttons and we start seeing what we can do. Why? Because we want to connect with friends and family. Well, here, a lot of people don't really understand that Pathways is the personal growth program of Toastmasters, because a lot of people don't even realize that our long-term Toastmasters, because it's changed in the past. So what we're doing is we're really helping people connect into a very valuable tool to their Toastmaster journey, to their own personal growth, which is in some way, shape, or form why they're a member of Toastmasters, presumably. And so we're really doing a service for every individual member when we help them to get to the pathway. And whether they do it or not, that's up to them. We're not going to do it for them. We're not going to force them. We're not going to harangue them. But we're just inviting them to their growth journey. The start button, we're not making people go there. We're inviting them to start their growth journey. This checklist, we're not making them do anything. We're inviting them to the growth journey. And that growth journey starts with the icebreaker. We're not dumping like a mountain of information on them, but like what is pathways? And there are 6 choices, and there used to be 11, but now there's 6. And the way we used to do it was books, and none of that. It's just, hey, come on, here, get started. Let's get on a pathway. And then they start working with it. They start hitting some buttons. They find out, they're in pathways. They're not going to hit a button that, makes their computer self-destruct. And, they're not going to find a button where, they're going to start a nuclear countdown in Washington or something. And if they hit another button, it's not going to charge their bank account $10,000. It's all just buttons to press and things to learn from when you press them. And if they just get a few buttons to press that brings them to success, like getting their icebreaker done, they now know how to use that. And then they'll start learning on their own all these other things. We don't have to explain it all. Now, as they're doing that, they'll have questions and we can answer questions. But when we answer questions they have, they're not becoming overwhelmed because we're throwing everything we know on them all at once. So this checklist is designed to give a very easy tool for anybody to mentor new members into the rhythm of the club and into the icebreaker, which by default brings them into pathways. It's not meant to sell pathways at all. It's just meant to move them into an icebreaker. And as they go, they will just naturally and automatically begin engaging with pathways. And then choose your next step. It doesn't start with that project. Let's keep going. And so what happens is we're really giving people a chance to connect in and understanding what the next step is without giving them the next 100 steps of the journey. We're just giving them the next step. Now, what if they ask about it? Yeah, answer a question. If they have a question, answer it. But if they don't ask it, just give them enough to take the next step, and that will raise questions for them, and then they'll go with it. But if they have something to work on and something to look forward to, they're probably going to stay around a little bit more and they'll be more engaged. And when they begin to realize how much good it's doing for them, they will be excited to help other new Toastmasters who come in after them to do the same thing. And that's going to be a part of the culture. And we need to, some people within the group, it doesn't have to be the whole group, but some people within the group need to be purposely creating a culture where this is thriving, and it will automatically take root in everybody because it's fun and it becomes very rewarding for people. Now I'm going to send out 2 links to you. You can download the doc here. I'll be sending out an email, but I'll put it in the chat here if you want to go faster. There is the docx, and you can download that. What I was working off of right now, I was showing you, was a PDF. Some people like to work with PDFs a little bit more. It's not, you won't be able to change it, but if you like the format, you can just use it, or you could use it as reference for training while you're taking the docx and you're making it your own. However you want to work it, it's your tool if you choose to use it. All righty. Let me go back and I'll just do a recap there. So what's on the checklist? Gentle guidance to log in and pick a path. Just real gentle. It's almost in an offhand way. When and how to schedule the icebreaker, which is really what we want them to do. Whatever path they choose, they're going to have an icebreaker, so we're automatically getting them going. Easy ways to get involved with the club, to meet people, to volunteer for a role. And then who to connect with for help. On this sheet, it's a VPE or any experienced member. You may have other people that you want to put in, and that's why I give you an editable form to do that. So here's some real-world skills that you'll gain by using this tool. When you use this tool with others, you'll grow in clear, confident communication. I think a lot of people really earnestly try to help others connect with pathways, but they really don't even understand pathways themselves yet. And they make a great effort at it. So it's nobody's fault. It's just that they didn't see a clear way in themselves. And so when they try to describe it to somebody else, it's kind of a big pathway because that's how they work their way through it. So here you get a simple tool to begin practicing some clear, confident communication. And as you use that checklist yourself and run down it, you'll start developing your own way of describing things. And you'll start to get the feedback from the way people are responding, whether it's making sense or not. And you can become very good at communicating clearly and confidently by using this simple little tool. You'll also learn strategic leadership and planning as you see how it works within your club and you see how you can coordinate it with other people. The TM Start Here button and also the checklist can be announced by the Toastmaster of the evening as a part of their normal thing when they introduce different roles and different people who are playing roles. They can also mention about the checklist or the Toastmaster Start Here button, and they can just start weaving it in everywhere. The truth is, the first time people are going to hear the TM Start Here button or the checklist, they're not even going to hear it. It's going to be after about 7 or 20 times of hearing it, where all of a sudden it'll be, hey, I never heard of that before. What's that? And then it's like, well, I better look into that. Everybody's making everybody's taking that seriously. I better look at that. And then it's like, well, here, take a look at it. And boom, it's all there. So none of this and the other tools are not silver bullets that slay the non-pathways engagement enrollment werewolf. What these are seeds, and they can just be scattered. And in using them, you're using them strategically, but these are actually tactics. But you'll begin to start trying to figure out how to use these tactics, and that means you have to figure out a strategy to use them if you're using it right. And so you start to work these into your other tactics, and you start to fold it into your strategy. So you are actually learning strategic leadership and planning. And coaching and onboarding ability. This is just you're one person helping another. That's all coaching really is at its base level. And this is just a tool that just formally puts it in the simplest form possible, and a person can just pick up and start working through it. And don't keep all these real world skills yourself. Encourage your members to try it. These are not tools for VPEs. These are tools for all members. Now, the tool number 3, the culture framework, is a tool that needs to be modeled and supported more by leaders. And then the fourth tool is really a tool for the president and VPE more. And then the final tool is really more for the VPE. But those final tools are still helpful for everybody to know. But these two tools, this one and the one last week, the Start Here button, anybody could and should be using it. There's a real dopamine hit from helping people. And if a new member, who's been around for maybe 2 months, they see a new member come in and they say, hey, here, this is so easy. Just go here. Now they're helping. They're a part of the club. They feel ownership in the club because they have something simple that did wonders for them, and it's very easy to help others, do the same for others. So encourage everybody to use these. And then we want to just layer this in with last week's tool. Each of these tools is standalone. They'll work fine by themselves. But when they're pulled together, they create a synergy where one supports the other, and you get a much greater effort. You actually get a culture shifting or a culture building effect from it. The Start Here button, which we shared last week, is big picture setup. Get people going on their pathway. Just very easy. Just get them going. But the Quick Start Checklist is actually the first step, in the sense that that's really the first thing you're going to do with the new Toastmaster. You may have mentioned the Start Here button, but you more likely will use the checklist and then point out on the checklist where it says to go to that Start Here button. But the Quick Start Checklist is the step-by-step flow. And you can use them together for seamless new member onboarding. It will bring people in. It will get them connected into the rhythm of the group. It will encourage them to start taking on roles. It will encourage them to, go ahead and put an icebreaker on the calendar, and then so they can start working on it. And then 30, 45 days, whatever it is, then they do it. The important thing is they do it. We preferably want them to do it early so that they are engaged in their personal growth, so they can see more of the value they're getting as a Toastmaster, so that they can stay around longer and they can invite other people in. And when visitors come and they see an interested, excited group, they want to be a part of that too. And they may not know exactly why the group is that way, but they know that they want to be part of that. And so when they come in, they don't have to spend years figuring out why it's like that. Here's the checklist. Here's how you do it. You get right involved, and then they'll start learning themselves how it is to get involved. So coming up next week is tool number 3. It's the culture building framework. It's a framework of 5 very simple concepts that you can sprinkle in everywhere liberally. The tool 1 and tool 2 are like the seed packets, and tool 3 is how to scatter those seeds and where to scatter them and how to water them and how to nurture them, but all with just 5 words. You're going to know what those words mean. It'll really just be a matter of making it a habit of using those, and you could just start layering them into your conversation, layer them into the meeting format, layer them in wherever you can, and you will find that they just start to take off by themselves, and it becomes automatic and natural. And what we're naturally trying to do so that it becomes automatic is create a club culture that supports Pathways. Why? Because Pathways is the personal growth component of Toastmasters. And we are really, it's nobody's fault, but really, if we look at it, we're really not helping to deliver the full value of a Toastmasters membership if we don't invite people into that journey. I understand, and I don't even do it myself. I don't try to explain Pathways to people. It's overwhelming. But they don't need to understand Pathways to get started any more than they needed to understand Facebook to get started on that or anything else they're using on the computer. They just have to, but the thing is, they have to know which button to press first to get them going. And once they're in there going, then they can hit buttons and see where it goes, or they can make mistakes, or they can get lost and get frustrated. And then when they figure it out, it's like, oh boy, but they know it. See? So we give them a few buttons to press in the beginning, and we don't get them confused, and we let them get confused, but in a context where they are anchored somewhere, and then they're learning. So we're actually, just by focusing on the icebreaker, we're actually helping them to begin their journey of Pathways, which is the real thing, but it's the real thing whether you're starting with the icebreaker or not, right? So why present everything? Now, if a person asks, like, well, this is Pathways. What is Pathways? Answer. Say, well, it's Toastmasters personal development program. You know, that's all. And if they ask another question, explain more. If they don't explain it. Just invite them into it. And the onboard for Pathways is going to be an icebreaker no matter what pathway they choose. So just invite them in. Simple actions with big ripple effects. This is what we're looking for. We're not looking for new programs. We're not looking for, add-on, accoutrements to, make old things that were clunky to make them even more clunky. We're looking to make old things that are really valuable, but are not exactly user-friendly for a brand new person. We're kind of getting some onboarding to what they need to be in to get them started so that they can begin to discover all that great goodness in the original one. Small hinges swing big doors. That's a real important concept here. The Distinguished Club program, it really has 2 big doors. I know there's like an administrative component and everything, but the big doors are really going to swing to let you into a Distinguished Club status is membership and Pathways engagement. And so those big doors, they're actually swinging on very little hinges. Okay? And it's not difficult to become a Distinguished Club. It's not rocket science, I should say it like that. There is work to do, but it's not rocket science. And so we just want to pick out those little simple actions that are high leverage that get great returns, and then start oiling those and start getting people to swing on those hinges. And then all of a sudden, we're just naturally and automatically swinging those big doors. So what to try before next time? Share the checklist with a new member. Just try one new member, see what happens. If they ball it up and throw it in your face, you learn something. They're not going to do that. But the point is, no matter what they do, you're going to learn if you want to do it or not. You're going to learn, well, maybe next time I'll do it this way. Or maybe I should have said this, not that. And it's just a learning experience, and that's a part of Toastmasters. So you're actually getting a lot of extra benefit from your Toastmasters membership. You might share it with a club officer. Just, if you don't have new members coming in, just share with the club officers. Hey, look at this. I just learned about this, and it looks like an interesting idea. What do you think the possibilities are for us with this? Should we try it out for a month? You can share it with a mentor or sponsor and see if they want to help to encourage the use of that in a club. Asking in your club, how can we make the first 2 weeks smoother is an important question, whether you use a checklist or anything else. How can we make those first 2 weeks smoother? And that's a valuable question no matter what. And we've got the end of the Toastmasters years coming up, the new year starting, and this is a perfect time to ask this question because every club is, this year there's a requirement that that club success plan be submitted by September 30th. Otherwise, you can get 1,000 levels of pathways, and you could get 10,000 new members, and you're still not going to make Distinguished Club if that CSP hasn't been turned in by the end of the first quarter of the new year. And so everybody's going to be thinking about that CSP, or hopefully they are. Otherwise, they're gonna mess up later on. They're going to discover that's too late. But presumably, they're all going to be working on a club success program or plan. This is a great time to ask these kind of questions, to bring up, well, let's try this. If it doesn't work, we don't have to do it again, but let's try it. And you can bring in some of these tools to help you in your planning for next year and see how they work. So just to have some wrap up and reflections, you might want to think about what was the most helpful or surprising today. There's a very good chance out of everything I shared that what was surprising or really resonated with you is probably the thing you need to focus on the most right now. So pay attention to that. It's really your intuition. Pay attention to what your intuition was nudging you about, whether it be through surprise or for feeling like, yeah, that really resonates. Another thing to reflect on is how will I use this? How will you use this in your club this month? Just start with using it once or twice. See what happens. None of this should be laborious. None of this should be a lot of work. It should all actually free you up because it actually begins to put tools in the hands of every member to begin that process of moving those little hinges that are going to swing the big doors when it all comes together collectively. And don't forget to register for next week's session for the culture building tool. And thanks for being part of the shift. Now I'm going to switch over. I'm going to turn off my share and do some Q&A. Oh, before I do that, I wanted to invite you out to kind of as a prequel or an introduction to the culture building tool. Last night was my level 5 completion speech. I did a panel on Zoom on how to build a new member-friendly culture in your Toastmasters group. And I invited 8 people who all joined in 25. So they're all brand new this year. One of them was around for almost that whole time, and the other one, the last of the 8, has only been a member for 2 weeks. And in there, I have them share what was important to them when they first came in, and what about the club culture made a difference for them. And so they all shared their insights, and I wrote it up for our club website, and I put the YouTube video of the panel. You may find it interesting. Let me see if I can find, here we go. Yeah, it's at ozarkorders.com, ozarkorators.com. And just scroll down and it'll be right here. Look at this. That's the new Toastmaster Start Here button, okay? It's right up there, and I'm pointing everybody to it. In fact, I had some good success stories. That new member that was in the panel, she's already started working towards her icebreaker because of that icebreaker button. So it works. But anyway, here it is. What makes a great Toastmasters environment for new members. And I've summarized it here in the little article. And then at the bottom, you can watch the actual panel discussion. I named it How to Build a Toastmasters Club Environment That Helps Members Thrive. I thought it was fascinating. I'm going to do a whole case study because I'm bringing this to Division A next year. And I'll be training a lot on that for the membership side of things. But I think you'll find a lot of insight here. And that whole effect can come from working that that simple little culture building framework of 5 little items. And I just do it, and I don't teach people how to do it. Now I am teaching people how to do it, but I didn't before. And people pick up on it because they see it modeled and they hear what I talk about, they hear what I'm saying, and they start. I'm saying it with authority, and they start doing the same thing because that's a part of the culture. So check out that video if you're interested. I think it would be pretty interesting. All right. Q&A.
Do
Um,
you have a link to that video?
I do. Yes, thank you. I appreciate that, Richard. I didn't even
I'm
think of that.
sorry. Did you have a link to
I
that
I
page?
do. I do. Yeah. Thank you.
Right.
I didn't even think of putting it in there. Thank you very much. Um, there's the link to that page, and you can check out that video. We are a college town, and we have an engineering school here. And we are not a college group, we are a community group. However, because students are a part of our community, we have a number of students in our group. And what you'll see is a lot of students. Let's see, almost not all, about half of them are students actually. So we have got a nice range of people that are very interested and very engaged, and they would not have been if not for our growth culture. And they would have come in and drifted out, or got overwhelmed, or not seen any point. But here they are, and you can see how And an interesting point is I invited 8 people out because I figure, well, okay, half the people will show up, so I invited 8. Well, all of a sudden I had 8 people. So I had way too many people for my panel. But on the other hand, I'm not going to tell somebody no after I've invited them. So it keeps everybody's answer nice and short, and I think you can really catch the spirit of how a growth environment affects a new member. And they'll talk about the structure of the meeting, and they like it. And they'll talk about, we start at 6 and that's it, and you start at 6 and that's it. It's going to start at 6, and they like it. And everything else, it's just a part of our culture. It's the way we do things, and they appreciate the support they get, and then they start to learn how the structures are actually helping them. So and a lot of these are college students who are thinking this way, so a lot of fun. And Richard, once again, thank you for reminding me to put it into the chat. So now you've got all my links. I will send them out probably on Saturday, because I'll edit my slides down to cut out the transitions, and so you'll just get the main, like, 9 slides for a nice review. And I will also include as an attachment the docx of the checklist. All righty. Do we have it?
Are
Yes.
these the slides that you presented last week?
No. However, I will send Richard. I'll send you out the slides I presented last week. Okay.
Okay.
And I think, thank you for asking. I will be happy to send those. These are being recorded, and I believe they're going to go up on the District 8 website. I'm not. It may already be there. I haven't checked, but it could be that they'll wait for the whole collection and put them up at once. I'm not sure, but so it may actually be viewable. Now, if we use the pathways, or if Patty Howard wants to do this program as a district-wide thing for next year, I'll be teaching on these. I'll be running through cycles every month. I'll run through a cycle of 4, and then the tool that's really for VPEs and presidents and club officers and planning, I probably will just do those at special times of the year. So anybody who wants to get training in it will have opportunity to attend. It's group coaching, so if things are tried, they don't work, you can come and ask about them. If you have new members that you want to introduce them to a particular tool, you can find out what day that month that tool is being presented, and they can come to it. And so this is going to be an ongoing coaching tool. I'll be definitely doing it for Division A, and even if it's not done district wide, anybody is still welcome to come to my Division A coaching. So you're going to be able to see these things over and over again if you want to. They won't be in your face. It's not like this is a new thing, a new directive, but it'll be there. So, Richard, I'm going to hope that last week's is on there, but I'll send you out the email I sent, and the slide, not just the slides, because I sent a recap. And with that recap and with the slides, you're going to get the gist of it beautifully. And if you want to ask questions, hit reply and just ask me any question you want. Sound good?
Okay. Sounds good.
Excellent. Any other questions? All righty.
I think we should congratulate you on finishing your pathway.
Yeah, thank you. Well, it's not, I have to do a speech tomorrow night at the meeting, and where I do the completion. But yes, I've essentially finished the whole thing. I just have to
Good.
do a reflection speech, which is wonderful because I get to, all the members in there, they're going to hear, I'm going to talk about the whole pathway, and they'll get to see what you can do. So yeah, it's always an opportunity when you're doing pathways. It's always sharing with other people. So I'm actually more excited about that. But thank you. I appreciate the congratulations. Richard, did I see your hand up, or did you hit a button by
No,
accident?
just scratching my,
Oh, okay.
scratch my ear.
Good deal. Okay. Excellent. Rosemary, did you get your new roof yet? Is it up yet? Or
The
they?
new roof is on and we're getting some rain to over.
Ooh,
So
test it out.
I keep looking up at the ceiling to see if there's any wet spots.
There won't be. It'll work great. Well, good. I'm glad that went well for you. And Frankie, I didn't see you all night in the beginning. Now your screen's on, so good to see you, visually too.
Yeah, I was trying to make the noon one, but I had another workshop that got out late, so I figured
Ah,
I'd catch what I could today.
well, we appreciate that. Thank you.
So,
Thank you.
and you're recording these, right? So they'll be
Yes, I'm recording it, and it'll be up to District 8 whether to put them on the website or not. But I will, when I'm doing them for Division A, I'll be, I'll be controlling my own recordings, and so those will be available for anybody to look at. So,
cool.
but that will be in like 6 weeks, so it'll be a little bit of time.
Cool.
Any other questions? Awesome group. Like I said before, you might look around, you might say, well, where is everybody? And my thought is they're exactly where they should be. And by the same token, all of us are exactly where we should be tonight too. Doesn't take a lot of people to do this. In fact, in the beginning, fewer is better because we can really more focus and get some things done without having all kinds of ideas at once. And we're really, the people who are here are really the ones most motivated to use these things. And as you work through using them in your own way, in your own context, you can begin to model for other people. And so when it starts to roll more for you, there's already something that you can teach other people. So this is a really good group. I really want to thank everybody for being here, and I'm going to look forward to seeing you next week. And if not, I'll see you maybe in a recording somewhere. Any last questions? All righty. Thank
Bye.
you. Have a good night. Bye-bye.